Korean denuclearization process should be modeled on what happened in Libya.
Will President Trump insist that Kim give up, ship out all of his nuclear weapons, all of his nuclear fuel, all of his ballistic missiles before the U.S. makes any concessions?
Yeah, I think that's what denuclearization means. And we have very much in mind the Libya model from 2003, 2004.
Well, it was back in 2003 that Libya agreed to eliminate its weapons of mass destruction. RT's Murad Gazdiev takes a look at how all of that turned out.
Remember the Colonel Gaddafi? He once had a nuclear program. Scary stuff, desperate with nuclear weapons. So the world sanctioned him, pressured him, punished him. Eventually, Colonel Gaddafi offered to scrap his nuclear program. The US and Britain made the deal, all hush-hush. They lifted sanctions, resurrected relations, made friends. 7 years later, they came back and helped kill him. He died painfully, tortured, alone in the desert. His army having been obliterated by the US, Britain and allies. His murderers, freedom fighters they called them then, would go on to plunge Libya into anarchy, killing thousands. Many earned a place on terror lists. Later, pundits in America, in Europe, in Korea would write that perhaps Gaddafi giving up the only weapon that could have protected him was a bad idea.
In Pyongyang's view, the Libyans took the economic bait, foolishly disarmed themselves, and once they were defenseless, were mercilessly punished by the West.
The precedent of former Libyan leader Gaddafi's brutal death does not offer much confidence Kim Jong-un about a safe exit.
The Libyan crisis is teaching the international community a grave lesson.
Iran, when giving up its nuclear program, thought it could get a better deal.
I want to ask if you have made up your mind to pull out of that deal, and if you do pull out of that deal, are you worried that it sends the wrong message to North Korea as you seek to enter nuclear talks with Kim Jong-un?
No, I think it sends the right message. You know, in 7 years, that deal will have expired, and Iran is free to go ahead and create nuclear weapons. That's not acceptable. 7 years is tomorrow. That's not acceptable.
You can't help but wonder at the logic, if there is any. It's hard to tell sometimes with Trump. How is ripping up a nuclear disarmament deal a good thing or a good precedent? Maybe North Korea will get it. It has now floated the idea that it too could give up its nuclear program. It is important to be positive, optimistic, look forward. Don't think about what happened to the last few guys that gave up their nukes. Maybe Mr. Bolton didn't think about what he was saying. He does want North Korea to disarm, right? Not grow its nuclear arsenal and paranoia. Or perhaps Mr. Bolton, one of the most hawkish and militant officials in the US, brought up Libya on purpose.
It seems like they're telling the North Koreans don't disarm when they do that. Because, of course, North Korea, like Iraq for that matter, disarmed, and then the U.S. invaded them and destroyed them and killed the leaders and killed all the people in the ruling circles. So you can't really tell Mr. Trump, can you? I mean, he's at one moment endorsing peace, at another moment he's telling Mr. Kim that he's going to be sodomized with a bayonet like they did to Muammar Gaddafi, or hanged as they did to Saddam Hussein. If the North Koreans feel the U.S. is going to destroy